game of the afternoon. It's open live at the Ostermann Arena in Leverkusen, Germany, and it is the Players' Champion, the former Grand Prix champion, the world number 5, and a man who beat Michael van Gerwen here in Germany just 2 days ago to really reignite his push for a top 4 spot in the Premier League. Daryl Gurney, super chin, back-to-back victories now against MVG. Not many people have done that, certainly not back-to-back victories on the telly, although one man who has is that man there, Jeffrey Zwaan, who last year beat him at the UK Open and then beat him at the World Match Play as well in a run to the semi-finals. Undoubtedly the highlight of his young and very exciting career. He has won a PDC ranking title as Jeffrey Zwaan. Daryl Gurney has a grand total of 3, but 2 of them are big TV tournaments in a really weird set of events. He does not have a European Tour title, and that is something that he will aim to address in 2019. He would love it to be addressed and dealt with here this weekend. The winner will face either Adrian Lewis or Dimitri van den Berg, one of the picks of the ties today. And Paul Nicholson joins me for the final game of the set.
I thought it was interesting that Gurney got Zwaan involved in the whole walk-on scenario there with the crowd. I think that's becoming a bit of a thing, isn't it? He's trying to get his opponent involved in the walk-on. I don't mind that at all, but it was amusing during the Premier League when he tried to get Wadey involved and Wadey was having none of it.
Not having it. And then spanked him 7-0.
I think that's what you call doing a professional job.
Yes. Quite the display. I have to say, Daryl Gurney, I don't think he's playing his best stuff this year by quite some distance. And yet, he's grinding stuff out. He's already made a Pro Tour final this year. He is in the mix in the Premier League. He's obviously just beaten MVG. He got a draw against Peter Wright the week before, and that came after his 2 heaviest defeats in Premier League history. It's only his second year of Premier League, but he never lost worse than 7-3 in his first year, and yet he lost 7-1 and 7-0 in consecutive weeks. Other players, that can really dent your confidence, and they don't come back from that. But not Daryl Gurney. Battled his way to a draw and then beat Michael van Gerwen. I think that says a lot about him. He is a fighter, and it's only, you know, yes, last year when he was struggling for a few months, and the match play was certainly probably where he hit rock bottom. He was just dead on his feet. He had no energy. Genuinely couldn't compete.
Yeah, the gas bottle was definitely empty then. He shouldn't really have got through the first round, but he did.
75.
Jeffrey Zwaan, first to a finish here. And Gurney's been having trouble in this first leg, which is very familiar to him, because he even spoke about it in his interview with Rod Studd the other night, that his first dart, he just can't find it at the minute. Pretty much at the start of matches, he's finding it a little bit more the last couple of weeks. But Zwaan can't find tops. And can Gurney turn this leg on its head? No, but that's a better first dart. That was a lot more positive. If he's going to have a miss, he'd much rather it was there than below.
Yeah, I think Jeffrey is a similar kind of player in that regard. Oh my word. Well, he's having real problems here, JDZ. 7 darts missed for the leg. And Gurney to break. Oh, you silly sausage.
78.
That is a real poor miss from Daryl Gurney. That's just lack of concentration, isn't it? He's already thinking about the double 16.
Maybe. Double 1.
No score.
I sincerely hope, for everybody's sake, that the match does not continue like this. But Gurney will not believe that he's got these chances. That dart is really shielding that double 8. It was so awkward. 48 darts thrown in this leg.
Between them, we should say. Although at this rate, each might not get the job done.
No score.
Right, we may have to change the board to get one with some doubles on it, because at the minute, they are playing as if they do not exist.
Somebody get the hedgehog out.
Yes, quite. There we go. Double two. And the most shocking leg of the European Darts Open is brought to a close with Darryl Gurney somehow breaking the throw.
Yeah, it's at times like these you don't start talking about averages. 53 darts thrown in that first leg, between them of course.
12 darts missed by Jeffrey de Zwaan at double. Even if he pinned every single double first dart and won this game 6-1 now, the best he could hope for in terms of his 33% on his doubles.
That's some quick math.
43.
Fair to say, Jeffrey de Zwaan's not hot right now. Averages in the 50s, that's what we love. That'll change, don't worry. Changing already. Everybody can have a shocking pub leg. Let's see how they put things right. Because we could see a lot of big scores between these two.
That's better from Gurney. It's amazing what happens in his game when he gets that first dart right. He's got something to clatter that second dart into. It's almost like he gains 5% more power in his arm when that first dart's right. He's got something to hit against. You know how good dart players are. They can hit trebles with no guide, but it's a lot easier when you have that guide. It's a bit like having a backboard, like they do in basketball.
Well, particularly with Darryl Gurney's arrows, which are some of the longest pieces of equipment in the professional game.
Double 10.
There
And that is better from the 11th seed. I can't remember the last time I saw Darryl so low on the seeding numbers. But they are a little bit misleading at the minute because of Pro Tours that have gone before, and the seedings were sorted out quite a while ago. So
yeah, that is
people
true.
like Chisnell at number 13, it's a bit obscure because he's won 2 titles this year.
That is true, and they will change very much over the next couple of weeks because there's a lot of money available on these Euro tours. And they have changed it slightly as well, so there's more money for quarter-finalists and semi-finalists this year. It's still £1,000 for a first-round exit, £2,000 for a second-round exit. If you're a seeded player, you don't get that as ranking money unless you win your game and go through to round 3 to pick up £3 grand. Oh, this is more like it. Look at this.
I tell you who's in real trouble, though. That's Whitlock. He's at number 14, and he's got no form between January, February and March.
Barely won a game.
To back up on. Yeah,
3 weekends.
He could drop really, really badly. He could find himself having to go to qualifiers again. And he's done that before and rescued the situation. But double 12 for de Zwaan, and he's found a double. And that will settle him down a bit. That was a much better leg from Jeffrey.
Well, we've seen the last 2 legs, one in a total of 26 darts, 14 darter and 12 darter. That is, what, the same number of darts it took to win the first leg? I'd lost count by the end. It was a lot of darts, leg 1. Let's never speak of it again.
135.
I looked at the list of the games we had this afternoon. I was licking my chops. A lot of guys on the roster this afternoon from the seeded half anyway that would usually be playing at night time, but this game was never going to live up to the last one because the last one was just immense.
Straight onto the, now that's what I call Sexy Euro Tour Darts DVD. Hopefully available at Christmas.
What is your favourite game of all time on the Euro Tour?
Oh, there are so many. There was one at this tournament, in fact, last year
96.
between Michael Smith and James Wade, where they both averaged over 105, and Wade nicked it 6-5. There was an incredible one, Adrian Lewis, James Wade at Gibraltar last year, where you had a run, was very, very special.
I remember the MVG final with
96.
Michael Smith in Austria.
Ah, yes.
That was a great game because that had a 170 in there from Smith. But I have to say that game with Ratajski was better than that.
140.
Pretty much any of Max Hopp's games in Saarbrücken last year where he went on and won the title. There's so many. The Euro Tour, as I say, the greatest tour in professional sport. That's 21 scored, leaving him 68. Got to look at the 18 segments. And that leaves double 7. Not conventional, but it will do. And that is a 15-darter. We've got a level game here.
Might as well just put all of those in the bank and then start again. Best of 7 now. We did threaten one of those scrappy games with that first leg, but...
Well, yeah, if you just jettisoned leg 1, then what we've had here is a 14-darter, a 12-darter and a 15-darter. We're seeing two guys throwing some really good stuff here. It's just they took 8 visits each to get rid of all the nonsense. Now we've got a proper game. You can't look at the averages. The averages in the low 80. It won't matter.
16.
Look, there you go. 14, 12, 15. After a 26, that's one of those where the video printer, you should write it out in letters afterwards so they know it's not a mistake.
That's better from Gurney. That's what we expect from the Northern Irishman. Someone who is very likely going to be going to Belfast in the Premier League. And I was speaking to Darryl about 2 weeks ago. I shared a car with him going to an airport back from an exhibition and had a nice chat with him. He was telling me about his cars and the size of his garage and all about Belfast. Now, I was very honest with him. I said, last year, when I was commentating on the Premier League, my favourite moment was his walk on Belfast. It was just incredible.
Yeah, well, that was his first target, to make it past Judgment Night. He will do that, but he may not make it past round 2 here, because Jeffrey Zwaan, having gone 2-0 down, has got a poke at 107 for a 3-2 lead. He was not massively impressive against Josh Payne, but he still won it 6-1 yesterday, Jeffrey.
Josh Payne said that was one of the worst games he's played on stage. But this will be a very good tops. Just under for the 107. And Gurney knew before this game started that he was going to have to take shots like this. That's a great treble. Wonderful conversion from Darryl Gurney to get the lead and what could be a vital break of throw, stemming the tide of Zwaan, who really has found his mojo in the last few legs.
Yeah, well, it's curious looking at their previous meetings. They've all happened over the last 4 years. That's when Jeffrey's been on the tour. They have had one meeting on a big stage. That was the Players' Championship finals at the end of 2017. And Gurney annihilated Jeffrey 6-0. But of course, 2017 was when Gurney was playing his best stuff. He was regularly making he was like semi-finals of everything, pretty much.
140.
Now, he's won 5 of their meetings, but he's lost 4. Jeffrey has produced some wins, including most recently beating him 6-1 on the tour. So, Zwaan will not be scared of Super Chin.
I hasten to say this, Dan, but maybe Darryl Gurney's the type of player that comes alive in the autumn. Now, I used to say this about Kim Huybrechts, because all of his big performances used to be in September, October, November. Now, if you look at the big titles of Gurney, I know that his Pro Tour title was earlier in the year, but the 2 majors were later in the year, and he does tend to play better in October, November, and December.
Well, he certainly came good at the back end of last year, having real struggles for the middle part of the year. But then, you know, he has made the semi-finals of the match play before now, that golden year of 2017. Yeah, very good setup shot. I don't think it's going to matter.
It shouldn't. This is Darryl's preferred shot on doubles, and there is proof of it. He protects that break with a hold. He is, of course, going to be under a bit of rankings pressure in a few months, but I'm not sure he's not worried about that. He's done quite well since then, and he will continue to be part of the top 10 in the world. If you can pick up a rank in major every couple of years, you are pretty much going to be around there.
Well, that's it. I mean, you know, obviously, had he not won in Minehead and picked up £100,000 for it,
48.
then there would be a huge chunk of his ranking money coming off in the World Grand Prix. Now, yes, that will put some pressure on, and it's coming off anyway, so there is some, but the fact is, he's already protected it. And he's got that 100 grand from Minehead sat there for another 2 years. And I think, to be honest, he's kind of overlooked by a lot of players. When they're looking at the elite in world darts, as Zwaan now makes it 4 180s. He is hitting 180s more regularly on the Pro Tour, by the way, than anybody else. It's even more than Chizzy. There's only one person hitting him more regularly than Dave Chisnell, and it's Jeffrey Zwaan. It's only marginal, and Chizzy has it more overall because he's played more games, he's winning more, he's won 2 titles.
Yeah.
But
so his 180 ratio is the biggest.
Yeah.
We're getting Americanized with the stats, aren't we?
Hey, look, I love the Dart Connect system. Hey, guys, great shooting. Good shooting, guys. Oh, now then, this would be good shooting. Oh, that's not the dart he was after.
80.
Squares it up to a ton, though.
167.
Not going to be for JDZ, but he got the second prize really well. Straight up the middle for 520s. He's going to go for 16s, or is he going to stay on the 60? What an adjustment. Double 10. Whoa, Gurney. That is great. It really is, because Zwaan has put the pressure on him and Gurney was up to it. That was fabulous.
Yeah, well, we've seen this in the last couple of weeks in the Premier League against Michael van Gerwen in beating him and against Peter Wright in holding off Peter Wright. He was the second best player in that game with Peter Wright, but he kept on nicking legs because he was strong enough to take out checkouts under massive pressure. Wright was outscoring him consistently. He kept on holding his throw, and it found very, very difficult for Snakebite to break his throw. He did, and even then Gurney found a way to come back and nip the draw. And Michael van Gerwen was struggling to break Daryl Gurney because he kept on doing that. You put him under pressure, and he can still find those doubles and those combination finishes. And that's why I think that there aren't many better in the world. Yeah, I love him too. Gurney, though, he's not that random German in a hat. I've no idea who you are, mate. But he gets overlooked. You know, you only have to look at the odds at the start of the year about who's most likely to win the Premier League. There aren't many people who've beaten Michael van Gerwen in a major final. In his debut year in the Premier League, he was still in with a chance of making the playoffs until the final week of league action.
After having so many draws.
Yeah, and it was only, you know, if 1 or 2 of those draws had turned into wins, he'd have been there by much. Gary Anderson might not have made the semi-final playoff stages. So I think Daryl Gurney was overlooked by a lot of people as a potential. I think when he's playing well, and he is not playing his best stuff, but still winning, when he really clicks into gear, and I expect it to happen at some point this year, really, could be this weekend. He can do anything. He can beat anybody. He's got a fantastic temperament for this game.
Well, in all that time, he hasn't changed a thing about his equipment. It's exactly the same. Now, 85. He's not going to switch to the 15s. And he may... Well, he should have, really, because he blocked the 19s. But he is a little bit stubborn. As we've seen on the 60 a little bit in this game. He doesn't switch until the 3rd dart. But he is going to be back for 64. His preferred corner of the board will be used. 2 singles for double 16. If he gets the treble, it will be double 8. And it could be match over.
It's only going to be 1 match dart, but it is his favourite target. And this time he is unable, baffled that he doesn't hit it. A lifeline for the Black Cobra. Can he seize it? It'll have to be on the ball.
65.
Line was good. The power was not. Should be all over. And is. Gurney has got it done. Super indeed from Super Chin. There was a lot to admire in that performance and some fabulously timed stuff. Dan, what a great afternoon, but what a night we have in store.
Absolutely, and Super Chin through to the last 16 along with 7 other players this afternoon. 8 more will join them tonight. The likes of Rob Cross and Michael van Gerwen, world champions on the way. Mensur Suljevic, Peter Snakebite Wright, the wizard Simon Whitlock, a former European champion. But it all gets going with a double world champion against a double world youth champion as Adrian Lewis Jackpot takes on the dream maker Dimitri van den Berg. The winner of that will face Daryl Gurney in tomorrow's 3rd round. Join us again on PDC TV at 7:15 this evening, live from the Ostermann Arena in Leverkusen, Germany.
während Daryl noch guckt, dass seine Flights da in die richtigen Hände kommen. Daryl, congratulations, first of all, through to the last 16.
Yes.
Would you agree a game that was in the end decided by the doubles that Jeffrey missed?
Yeah, obviously, I think that Jeffrey he was outscoring me, but I was hanging in there. And then, obviously, whenever he missed, I took my chances. So I was lucky that way. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously, there was a couple of good legs in there where I think I finished 100, and that probably could have saved me the game. Whenever Jeffrey had a big score to leave himself a nice handy finish. So the 100 saved me. And there was something else, I can't remember now, but there was something else where I had one darted double and had it.
Ja, ich habe ihn gefragt, ob mit mir übereinstimmt, dass das ein Spiel war, das am Ende entschieden wurde, weil Jeffrey Zwaan viele Doppel verpasst hat. Da sagt er, ja, er hat mir Chancen gegeben, aber ich habe dann die Chancen auch gut genutzt, habe teilweise gute Finishes gespielt und da waren ein paar schöne Legs dabei. I've got to tell you, I remember that last year in Hamburg, you once said that, I don't know, you said, I've got the feeling that the German crowds, they don't like me. After watching your walk-on today, I've got the feeling that's not true.
No, they love the walk-on, but they don't like me playing against Dutch or Germans. So, yeah, so. But no. As for the walk-on, it's loved everywhere. Germany, bar Belfast, Germany, they love the walk-on. Sweet Caroline's probably the best. Am I correct?
Ich habe ihn gefragt, weil ich kann mich daran erinnern, dass er letztes Jahr auf der European Tour in Hamburg hat mal gesagt, ich habe irgendwie das Gefühl, dass mich das deutsche Publikum nicht so richtig mag. Und als ich mir jetzt den Walk-On vorhin angeguckt habe, das war ja herzerwärmend, wirklich, da habe ich das Gefühl gehabt, ich habe das Gefühl, Leverkusen mag Super-Chain, oder nicht? Und wir freuen uns schon auf den nächsten Walk-On, wenn es hier wieder heißt Sweet Caroline und gratulieren Super-Chain Daryl Gurney!